Yes, you found us. It's the Richard and Judy Book Club, exclusively with W.H. Smith, and here we are to talk about yet another of these great summer reads of ours. We've got 10 of them. This is one of my favourites. It's called Tideline. It's by Penny Hancock, and like all the books, if you go to the back, if you get it from W.H. Smith or here on the website, there's extra content exclusively to these books bought that way. Details about our podcast with all the authors, questions and answer sessions in the back in writing with the authors, discussions. It's really good. It's well worth getting hold of. Right, now then, Penny. Let's talk about your central character, Mad Sonia. Mad as a bat cave full of bat Sonia. She's a very strange woman. Let's set this up. She lives in a lovely old house in Greenwich. Yeah. Used to belong to her parents. It's by the river, beautiful river views, very atmospheric place. And she's kind of crazy. Something bad happened there many, many years ago. And it all comes back to her one day when Jez,
that's right,
beautiful Jez, a 15-year-old boy, knocks on the door. He's come to collect a record. That her husband has recommended to him, and he's gone. And so he comes into the house, just the two of them. First thing she does is get him drunk. Why?
First of all, I don't think she's mad. She's not supposed to be mad.
What?
She's not supposed to come across as mad at first.
All right.
She's
obsessed.
She's obsessed. Yes. She's got an obsession which gets out of control. So when Jez arrives, he just triggers this memory that has been haunting her for some time, and about her first love, about her first great romance.
Teenage love, and of course,
teenage love, yeah.
And of course, Jez, her friend's son, is a 15-year-old boy, and in her eyes, he rapidly becomes Seb.
Exactly, yeah. So in a way, she's sort of reliving something that happened in her past that went tragically wrong.
Right.
So that's when she begins to lose it. But I wouldn't say she was a mad
person
to begin with.
I was being a bit fruity, to be honest with you.
So's the book.
The book is very erotic.
It is erotic.
Within the first couple of chapters, because she decides she wants to keep him. It's a little bit about like Misery in that sense, isn't it?
Yes,
he becomes hers, and to keep him, she gets him drunk. She gives him spiked wine, puts whiskey in the wine, and almost straight away, I mean, she tucks him into bed because he's drunk, and very nearly makes a pass of him, isn't she? She loves his physical beauty, and she loves what he reminds her of. But she doesn't ever. There's certain lines she never crosses, although she comes close.
Yes, but she sees in him. I think you've written it incredibly well. Anybody who's had a sort of a major first love in their teens. It is intensely, you do kind of look at your beloved and think that, they are beautiful, and you get this beautiful adolescent gorgeousness, the flawless skin, beautiful sparkly eyes, and she just and she can't help herself. And although she doesn't cross a major line, she does find herself caressing him and kissing him, and she kisses all while he's unconscious.
Exactly.
He's
so he doesn't know.
He doesn't know what's going on, But the awful thing is that, I mean, as I say, he is the son of a very close friend of hers. And of course, when he doesn't come home, they're going bananas. What has happened to our little boy, or our adolescent boy? And nobody thinks that she has got him caught there.
I think what you did very well is, I wondered after, finally, she gets him drunk. He's got to be able to get out. I mean, she's a frail woman, and there he's a well-built 15-year-old. But the way you plot it, the stratagems she uses to keep him there. Did you have to think very hard about them? Because there are lots of different ways that she adopts to keep him a prisoner.
That was really difficult, because people kept saying, but surely he'd just jump out of the window. So I had to have very small, narrow windows that he couldn't jump out of. But also, it was partly in his character. I wanted him to be quite a well-brought-up boy who just, this was his aunt's friend, so he thought he couldn't believe she could be doing something to him like this, even though he could sort of see it with his own eyes. He kept trying to explain it to himself.
Because Sonia is in her 40s, isn't she? And
very attractive woman, though.
And she's known him all her life, and he's known her. And you just wouldn't, would you? I mean, just when you're 15, you wouldn't suddenly think that
your mother's friend
was coming on to you.
Or keeping you a prisoner.
Exactly. And actually, in the very beginning, he's almost. He's a little bit flirtatious with her as well.
Yes, isn't he?
I think he's a bit attracted to her as well. So he's not really, at first, he's not frightened.
Tell us about the river. It's a very important part of the book, crucial part of the book, hence the title Tideline. Tell us about the Thames and its role as a character in the book.
Yeah, it was one of those things, again, that had been obsessing me, was the fact that I grew up near the Thames, and now I live in Cambridgeshire, and I just
miss
it.
The river.
Yeah, I miss it. So I wanted to write
about it.
Which part of the Thames? It was by Greenwich.
Oh,
yeah, near Greenwich, not on the river, but up the hill from there. And so I really wanted to use it in a book. And when I decided that Sonia should live by the river, it sort of just it just seemed absolutely right. And it was like, and I thought I can use the river as a sort of I didn't do it very consciously, but as a kind of reflection of some of the moods that she was going through, and also about a sort of symbol of the past and things.
And the tides.
The tides coming and going, and lines being crossed, tide lines being crossed.
And the event, of course, in her past, which is very much to do with the river.
Yeah.
I don't know Greenwich at all well, but you make it sound idyllic. Are there really lots of beautiful houses along the river there?
Yeah, it's a large part of it is the Royal Naval College, which is now Greenwich University. But there are some lovely houses further down.
That's where the Queen first met Prince Philip.
That's right. Yeah, it's all very it's all very royal. There's lots of there's a Queen's house up on the hill. I think Henry VIII used to live in the palace just behind there as well. It's all quite historic. But there are patches, there are sort of stretches of the river where there are some lovely old houses. Yeah.
Who did you feel sorrier for at the book's end? Sonia, because of what she's been through, or Jez and his awful ordeal?
Who did I personally feel sorry for? Sonia. I mean, I think what lots of people haven't sort of noticed or mentioned is that he was only kept in that house for quite a short time, really, and he's very young. He's quite resilient as a character. Whereas Sonia, I mean, she's had a terrible...
She's broken.
Yeah, she's a broken woman. She had something terrible happen to her in her past, which, without giving anything away, has sort of affected the rest of her life, really. So I felt sorry for her.
I think you can see that for Jez, yes, I mean, it may have been a bit alarming, but actually it's not like being sexist about it. It's not as if an older man had kidnapped a much younger girl.
No, it doesn't seem as bad for some reason, does it?
Isn't that strange?
No,
because
you're quite right.
If you were a 15-year-old girl in that situation with a guy who you thought of as an uncle who was actually, you know, in his 40s,
you'd scream purr,
it would read actually as being much more threatening than it does with the boy. And he, you know, presumably he's got he'll dine out on that for the rest of his life. His wonderful story of being kidnapped by an attractive older woman.
Well, I have to say that one of our most successful books of this book club, since we started it a couple of years ago, was S.J. Watson's Before I Go to Sleep. I'm sure you read it.
Brilliant.
What did she say about your book? Brilliantly written and totally gripping. Sums it up in one. Tideline, Penny Hancock, fabulous read. Congratulations, Penny. It's a really nice piece of work. I'm sorry I called her mad.
No, don't mind. I just wanted to kind of put her to stand up.
Thanks, Penny.
Okay, thank you.